Tessa, in this film, Valkyrie is in a very different moment of her life. What did you and Taika Waititi discuss about your character's mindset in this film?
We discussed a lot, and we pitched a lot of ideas back and forth and trying to figure out what her arc would be over the course of the movie. But we were both really inspired by this idea of, here's this woman who, has spent thousands of years as a career soldier who really loves her people and has been given this opportunity to serve them as king and is excited by that, but is having a hard time just with the bureaucracy, with the paperwork and the meetings, and she's missing just fundamentally being in battle and having her sisters, and so she's really excited actually to embark on this journey, as terrifying as it is in some moments, and to get to do that alongside mighty Thor, which feels like a sister to her, and that was sort of the journey that we thought was most exciting for her in this one.
Now that you talk about the mighty Thor, Natalie Portman herself, the scenes where you are together and you behave as best friends are great. Tell me about working with her.
It was such a joy. Natalie and I made a film many years ago, and we've stayed in touch, and we're good friends in real life. So I think getting to bring that to the screen just felt like a joy. It's really rare actually to get to work with your friends, and in the context of these movies, Taika and I are really good friends. Chris and I are really good friends. So it felt like just having another good friend join us.
Christian Bale is such an intense character in this movie. Is he as intense in real life as he is in this movie?
No, no, he's not at all. He's so sweet and lovely. And actually, even though he's such a terrifying villain, in the moments when we were fighting each other, after every take, he'd be like, "Are you okay? You good? You good?" I mean, he's like the most conscientious person I've ever played opposite, and that's really rare. Actually, I've played opposite people that are supposed to be terrifying and scary, and they kind of stay there, because they don't have to not, and it's easier in some ways if you just sort of stay in that pocket. But Christian is not that way. He was just lovely and a joy to be around, and we'd be chatting and with his kids and talking about the weekend, and we'd be talking about the surf, and then suddenly we'd call action and he would be the intense gore that he is in the film.
That's very nice to hear. You seem to have had a lot of fun filming this movie.
I did. I had so much fun.
Tessa, this movie also has a deep connection with music. Well, your father is a musician, your sister, and also you're a singer. What's your take on the way the music helped this story to move forward?
Music's everything to me. I use it so much in my work, and as you said, most of my family, they're all musicians, so it's a really, it's a huge part of my life and my world. And Taika really works that way too. He's a huge music fan, and so he plays a lot of music on set all the time, and that's like the way that I love. I mean, it's really rare actually to play music on sets, because keeping everything organized and people, everyone works in different ways. For some people, maybe it's distracting, but for Taika, it's very helpful. And also, I think when you're doing long days and you're making a film for 6 months, it's so nice to have music, and it also gets a whole crew into the same spirit and energetic space. And that, I think, is the most exciting thing about music, the way that it unifies us. So I really love being able to use it in film and in the process of making a film.
And which song would you say defines your character, Valkyrie?
Oh, there's too many, and she's so hard to define. I couldn't pick one song, but I'm a really big Prince fan, and I think there's a lot about Valkyrie. I like to think that Prince and Valkyrie would have gotten along really well if they ever had the chance to meet. So I think a Prince song, maybe "Let's Go Crazy."
Tessa, one of the most interesting scenes of the film shows a conversation between you and Korg. We don't often see LGBT characters talking about their feelings in what's known as mainstream fiction. It felt fresh. I don't know what you think about it.
I mean, I love it. That was a scene that Taika and I came up with. We brainstormed around that scene together, and we came up with it. And I sent versions to him back, and we sort of had a rough idea in terms of the shape and the things that we wanted to explore, and it was a joy to make. We did a lot of improvisation, and I'm so happy. You never know with that stuff. Sometimes you do these things and it doesn't end up in the film, and I'm really pleased that it made it into the film. And I think it adds a dimension to both of their characters, and certainly, as you said, a much needed representation in the context of these movies. So I love that scene.
Of course, now that we talk about representation and these topics, for some people, those scenes might not feel important, but considering that basic human rights are in jeopardy in our society, the fight for LGBT rights, the recent ban on abortion, normalizing these topics seem more important than ever, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. I think that, my one of the things that makes me excited to work in film is I think you have the opportunity inside of the films that you make, the television that you make, and the television that you ingest to start cultural conversations. And political change is always preceded by cultural change. You cannot change anything politically without the culture of society changing and people wanting to engage. And so I think it's hugely important, and particularly in the context of big movies that people see all over the world, I think they have the ability in ways big and small to change hearts and minds. So I happen to think it's hugely important. Yeah.
Tessa, it's been 5 years since Valkyria's debut on the MCU. From warrior to king, what did you feel as an actress when you look back at this journey?
I was thinking about this the other night when we had our premiere, and there were so many fans that were dressed as my character and other characters. And, I grew up in Los Angeles, right just a stone's throw from where the actual premiere was happening. And it would be a treat if I could go to the cinema right there, the very cinema that our movie premiered in. So I thought a lot about that. Just, I thought way before 5 years ago when I could never have imagined that I would be inside of these kind of movies, or that little girls and boys or folks would be watching me. So it really is a dream. I would say it's a dream come true, but it's a dream I couldn't have even had the audacity to dream then when I was on Hollywood Boulevard watching movies myself. So it really is, it's surreal.
Well, yeah, things do come full circle, right?
I think so. But some things come full circle, and some things just, they don't make sense, certainly. But some things do come full circle. Gratefully.
Tessa, where would you like to take your character next?
I don't know. I think there's kind of boundless possibility. I think the thing that feels exciting around working inside of the MCU is the extraordinary imagination of the creators of this world and this universe, and also getting to explore what happens in the comics and what is canon, and see around how that translates into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm hopeful, and I'm really open also because I love playing the character so much that I'm happy to do it in any context that makes sense.
Right now, I just thought that it would be crazy to watch an Asgardian politics show.
Oh, wow. I love this. Sort of about like diplomatic, political things, but inside of the MCU. Listen, I'm game.